You see, there are only two dispositions that the body-mind can live as or in at any one time. Either the body-mind can be living like an open hand, that's what I call the divine disposition, the divine place, the divine space, the space that was never born, the space that will never die, the space that is untainted, has no history, is as fresh right now as it was just then. It's a stability, it's a constant, it never changes. It's a disposition. It's not a conditional disposition. It's what already is. Understand that. It's what already is. And it will never die. It will never be destroyed. It can be forgotten. It can be lost. Just as the sun is shining, you can see the sun, and then suddenly you can't see the sun because of the clouds. But we assume it's still there because it's still light. My body is still naked beneath these clothes. These clothes are a kind of disguise. There are lots of things that are prior, because this is the prior condition. When you read a book, the blank pages are prior to the words. When you eat a meal, what's prior to the meal is the cook. And what's prior to the cook are the ingredients. There's always something before. Before this watch stopped working, it was working. So this is the prior condition, the divine condition. However, very few people, although have lived in this disposition and live in this disposition, maybe not for very long, have not yet come to realize that this disposition is the God disposition, the disposition of love, joy, delight, intimacy, ecstatic happiness, unmade, unchanging, one's true self with a capital S. This disposition is constant. It's never destroyed. Never. It can never be destroyed. Never. Prior to breathing is the air. It's always there. When there's a vacuum, of course, there's no air, but there's still space. This is what this is, the divine space. Always already the case. And it's our true state. The unchanging state is our true state, our true disposition. Because I'm not going to be talking about an alternative space. I'm talking about our true state, our true place. And then the false place is likened to the clenched fist, which is ugly. It's all about me, my. All about me wanting to be fulfilled. It's always about me against you or against an object. It's always about seeking. It's always wanting to be fulfilled and excited and stimulated, and it's the ego. It's this disposition that is the ruination of intimacy, the ruination of this disposition, the ruination of non-cooperativeness, well, cooperativeness. It's the ruination. It's alien. It's all about unhappiness, wanting to be happy, all about sorrow and sadness. It's all about emotions. It's forever changing. It's never constant. And it's not necessary. You see, there's the open hand, and I can do that with the hand. But if this represents the open body, body mind, really open, so open that you just feel ecstatic, you feel alive, you feel wonderful. But for some reason, we turn in upon ourselves and we go inward. And we start thinking and thinking and thinking. And we start wondering why people don't love me. And we try to do our best. We manipulate others to get our way, to get love, to be liked. We follow a regime. We follow a daily discipline of some kind. We start wanting to belong all the time to groups. We want to feel that we belong. We do good service. We're goody-goodies. We try to be nice. We try to live up to other people's expectations, but we fail. This will always fail. It will never succeed. If it succeeds, it's very short-lived. This is destroying this. This is strangulating God. Now you know that these two dispositions, which would you choose if you had the choice? But how can we get from this disposition to this disposition? This cannot unfurl itself. The fist cannot open itself. The fist cannot become like an open hand willingly, because that's more contraction. I call it the self-contraction. It's more of the same stuff. You're honing in onto it. You're playing on it. P-R-E-Y. You're meditating on it. Well, just that you need to switch on the light switch so that there is light in the darkened room. You had to do something in order for there to be light in the darkened room. You switch the torch on, you light a candle, you had to do something. Well, all you need to do is to redirect your attention, your feeling attention, which, by the way, don't belong anywhere. They are just free. Your attention is already free to go here, there, and everywhere. So just as you have to put your attention on the light switch in order for you to put the light on, the attention needs to gravitate towards that which is already happy. Now this is the crux. This is the possibly the sting in the tail. This is what people don't want to do. They don't want to turn to an enlightened master or to an enlightened one. Now, I've been taught this years and years ago by this spiritual master, Adidar Samraj. And he says the only way out of this ugliness, this selfishness, this competitiveness, this bitchiness, this being a bastard because you want your own way all the time, this argumentative, self-righteous personality. The only way out of it and to live a life of love, happiness, freedom, joy, delight, and intimacy is to turn away from it, not to dwell on it, not to give it any attention. Put your attention, fall in love with your God-man. There have been quite a few God-men in the history of mankind. And of course, the famous one is Buddha and Jesus and Krishna. There's been many others. And Adidar came into my life 35 years ago. And as long as I remain in communion, because that's what holy and divine communion means. And it's a Sanskrit word called satsang. Communing. You become the divine. You become this state. You are relieved of this. You become what you already are. So you don't actually become this, but this is more and more released. And mysteriously, your true self starts to shine forth. It's like a diamond or a piece of gold. It has to be purified. And suddenly you see the beauty of the stone. It's revealed. You're given a present and it's wrapped with lovely wrapping paper, but you tear off that wrapping paper and suddenly something is revealed. A mother about to have a baby. The baby is revealed. And that's often due to contraction. After a period of time, after darkness, comes this beautiful light. But as we know, the child grows, and the joy of having the baby doesn't last. It's temporary. Because we start clouding. We start putting demands on one another. That's the other thing. This is always demanding others to make you happy. Why should I make you happy? This is the illusion. We believe that everything about the body-mind is due to something. You excite me, you stimulate me, you annoy me, you make me happy, you make me unhappy. It's your fault. Blame, 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 blame. Or that object, or that shouldn't be there. It disturbs me. The dust disturbs me. You see, once you're in this place, there's a inherent indifference. That doesn't mean you accept everything that's going on around you, but from this disposition, you are mature and you can discern and discriminate without reacting. See, the clenched fist disposition reacts reacts, always reacting, never satisfied, if not for long anyway. But from this disposition, one responds. One sees what needs to be done, and you respond. The washing up needs to be done, and you respond. You start functioning from that happy disposition. You start functioning more and more from this intimate disposition. There's no more, I have to do this, it has to be done attitude. So many attitudes today. Look how you behave on the roads. Yes, you. Everyone is going like this. Ooh, here I am, and I've got to get from A to B or A to Z. In this disposition, there's no going anywhere. You are living a divine life. You've been reborn, as it were, of the Spirit, as Jesus said. But this is the, if you like, the bugbear, this is what people don't want to do, and that is to surrender. It's exactly that's what we have to do, that we don't want to do, is surrendering. You're not surrendering to another person. You're surrendering to your true condition. This is an agent. It's the key. See, you've got a key, you put your attention on the key, put it into the lock, and you open the door, and the door is open, and then you have whatever there is the other side of the door. There's a freedom. There's no barrier. There's no wall. This is an illusion. It's a barrier. It's a separative act. It's not necessary because the ego is this activity. It's not necessary. So here I am pinching my skin. Here, before I pinch the skin's fine. It's as it should be. It's fine. It's the right color, I think. But then when you pinch it, you feel a pain. Ow, ow. And there's a whiteness there now, but the skin has been changed. So as you realise, and as I know, all you do is take away the pinch, stop pinching, and the skin will go back to as it was. But what we're doing is we're going, Doctor, I'm in agony, I've got pain, please help me. Always got these, there's always something wrong with the body-mind, always. And the doctor can see clearly what you're doing. He said, well, stop bloody pinching yourself. We've all heard of the phrase, you're screwing yourself up. Well, everyone's screwing themselves up, not necessarily grossly. But you've got to become fed up with this I, me against you mentality and attitude and actuality. That's what's happening all the time. Greed. The ego thinks it. You see, this is the root cause of thought. This is the root cause of depression and unhappiness. This is the root cause of seeking for fulfillment. This is the root cause of all arguments and argy-bargies and wars. Everyone's at war with one another. Not necessarily grossly, not necessarily like Putin. Ridiculousness, that is. It's only immaturity. The whole world is led by immature people. Can you be happy without anything? Because that's what you are. You are already without anything. We don't own a thing. I buy a bag of sweets, I offer you one. It was mine, now it's yours. I make a cup of tea. It was mine, now it's yours. I give it to you. We become attached so quickly. We go into a room, we sit down on the chair, we stand up and someone else is sitting on that chair, And we feel, well, that was my chair. We become so possessive. Of course, from this disposition, you can still do all that. You see, but there's such a freedom from this disposition. There's no yours and mine anymore. But there's responsibility and, I've got glasses here. I wouldn't want someone to take them away. You see, humour comes with this. And this is the oil in the lamp. The body is the lamp. This is the oil, the spirit, the juice, which makes your life more juicy. And you realize that all of conditional life is simply the play of the divine. It's not a belief, you see. This has nothing to do with beliefs. Everyone's believing this and the other. Everyone wants to be better than the other. My religion is better. No, it's not. My religion's better. Or my sect is better than yours. There's so many Christian sects. Why? Because this gets in the way. The esoteric teachings, the hidden teachings, are inherent to everybody. It's intuition. The intuitive disposition is again the open hand. Once you're in that place, there's such a lot, it just comes. You're not thinking incessantly all the time. Your mind is full of nonsense. The open hand disposition is a body-mind just empty of all that nonsense. No self-consciousness when you walk along the street. No demands. You just enjoy being alive. The body-mind is naturally already happy. Look at children when children are being really children. So many demands are put on children because parents don't know. They don't. You see an 18-month toddler in a pram eating a big donut, ice bun or something. A poor stomach, a little stomach being... Surely the parents know. So from this disposition, you discriminate, you discern, you're not emotionally involved with everything. This disposition, everyone's so involved. You see so clearly. It's a wonderful, wonderful, clearness. And it's all down to grace. So find your agent. If you wish to choose Adidar, then read up about Adidar and see what a genuine master, what a lover he was and still is. He passed away in 2008. That's 69, which is my age. I'm full of life. Oh yes, the body is not as strong as it were. The bones aren't so strong. Of course they deteriorate, but the energy is never ever lost. You see, people say, oh, I like your energy, or I love your energy, or I have no energy anymore. Balls. Energy is energy is energy. Light is light is light. Air is air is air. Water is water is water. It can be disguised. It's this contraction that everyone is doing, and it's not necessary. Only in divine communion can you be released of it. You can choose your agent. It can be a beautiful picture. You know, when you look at when you go on into the country, you may feel more like this when you go up on the hills. When you look at something and it brings that happiness, then that's your true state coming through, your true self. We're feeling attention, we call it. Feeling attention. And do that all day long. Gravitate away from this self-forgetting, God remembering. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He really meant that literally. Fall in love. But we don't have a bodily human form of Jesus Christ. We have millions of him on a cross. That's not the Jesus I want to look at and remember. I want the Jesus that's full of life and happiness and teaching people a happy way to live. That's what he was about. Full of happiness. And Buddha was the same. Happiness. And Krishna. Read about Krishna. He's a mythological, he wasn't real. But read about the stories. What about the Pied Piper of Hamelin? The children were attracted to him. And all. He was these ecstatics aren't allowed to live in this world. The only time you can truly be happy is when you're in a watching a comedian. See, right from the word go, we have to have a tick to say, yes, now you can be happy because you got that right. No, you can't be happy because you got that wrong. What? You can't be happy. You only had 2 out of 10. But I am happy. It doesn't matter to me. Your child might pipe up. You're made, right from an early age, it seems that you are made to feel bad. It's only the self-contraction, of course. But how many teachers are really happy to teach, really happy? Adidas said you cannot teach anyone anything unless you're both happy. The recipient has to be happy to receive, and the giver has to be happy to give. This is our true disposition. Find that out. Find it out. Every day, re-find it. That's what I do. Throughout the day, every day, I'm re-finding this already the case, happiness. And this is my reminder. Adidas Samraj was the greatest, or a great spiritual master. Absolutely. He wouldn't let any of this nonsense be dramatized. Discipline yourself. Discipline your diet. Discipline your body. Exercise. Discipline your deportment. Yes, sit up straight. Discipline. Be happy to be disciplined. And also be happy to be told to do things by others. People hate being told. Hate it. No, don't wash up like that. Wash up like this. No, don't cut that banana like that. Cut it like this. Be conscious, you see. Be conscious about how you do everything. Be with whatever you're doing. Be with the drink. Be conscious of the taste. Be there. Be always with whatever it is. What's on? The local answer event listings are compiled. Be there. Don't be elsewhere. The most important moment in anyone's life is now. Here I am, Adidas says. Now listen to my testament of divine secrets. See, the esoteric knowledge that Jesus was about, and that many masters, is hidden because it's intuitive. It's hidden behind this. Once that's gone, then it's all revealed. Listen to me. There are many divine secrets I must reveal before I retire. Silent in the bright. He called this disposition the bright. Hear me, and I will reveal even my heart's secret. Then the way of the heart, you see, the way of love and happiness and joy. It becomes a conscious choice. It's wonderful to live a life of true happiness and joy and not depending on anyone or anything. To become responsible. It's an alone life with God. Not lonely, but you're on your own with God. You don't belong to anyone. So stop pretending you do. You don't really have anything. So don't live as if you have everything or whatever. Look at your bank account. Look how many thousands and millions of pounds are in people's bank accounts. Look at all the books on the wall. People have books and books and books. It's all scaffolding to hold your ego up. It's all nonsense. You're going to die in a moment. There's always going to be a tomorrow when you die. And there's always going to be a today that you die. Are you ready for that? Because death is simply the falling off of the body. And then consciousness continues. As I said earlier, this is never born and will never die. It continues. Then you take on another body if necessary, until this is purified, got rid of entirely. And thank you for listening. Now you know that or that. It's your choice. Choose happiness or choose this unhappiness, this I am right and you're wrong mentality. It's not good. I'm not at war with anyone or anything. I have no one to blame. No one. I understand. I can say, well, if you didn't do that, that wouldn't have happened. That's not a blame, that's just a reality. If someone walks in with dirty shoes and marks my beautiful new carpet, you're not blaming that person, but you say to that person, well, had you not walked in, that mark wouldn't have been happened. That wouldn't have happened. But from this disposition, you can really be loud. You see, there's no inhibition from this disposition. God is loud. What do you do that for? No, don't do that like that. See, the raised voice is not understood. See, the thing is, people take everything personally, you see, because they don't know that it's God living them. We don't need to take everything personally. Oh, didn't I do well? Oh, my mother says, oh, yes, oh, right, yes, oh. There's a freedom, and a freedom of allowance. There's no inhibition. There's liberation. Liberation from this nonsense. The open hand disposition is powerful, loud, full of energy. It's already happiness. We have to grow up, and the only way to grow up is in this disposition. Jesus wasn't a wimp, how he's portrayed on the... He was murdered, but he wasn't a wimp. He lost his realization, apparently, on the cross. God, why have you forsaken me? He was contracting. That's all. And he refound it. The contraction deceives one. This can only be understood once you're there and realizing it. I could talk until I'm blue in the face, try to argue with you. There's no argument. You either realize it or you don't. You had to touch fire in order to know it's hot. No matter how many times your mother said, do not touch fire because it would burn you, we all had to touch it. We all have to realize this, that, and the other. It's not about beliefs. Beliefs are egoic. It's all there just to give you some kind of armor, and then you defend it. And you use it as power, and you start attacking others, other beliefs. A belief system is a belief system is a belief system. They're all the same. We all believe. I mean, I believe the toilet's still there, and I believe there's, that mug is still going to be capable of holding water, and I believe, we all believe. There's faith. There's faith. I believe that door handle is going to open the door and all that business. But those kind of beliefs and that faith is not self-preservation beliefs. It's not more armor against you. Yeah. Or I believe when I die there's going to be God there judging us. And we really so adamant about that belief. It's when we become so adamant that our beliefs are right. Beliefs are beliefs, then they're neither right or wrong. It's a matter of faith. If you've got faith, they're fine. But this open hand disposition is the only way to live truly happily with one another under all circumstances. And then your life becomes more and more simple. A simple life. Because it's not complicated by this nonsense. You're not needing to be made happy so often because you are already happy. There's nowhere to go when you're already happy. People say, where have you been today? I want to say nowhere, but you've been out in the car. This disposition goes nowhere. The body goes. This disposition. Do you understand? Disposition. See this? This plain piece of paper is always a plain piece of paper. No matter what's written on it, the plain piece of paper is still there. We haven't changed the plain piece of paper, but it's not the plain piece of paper that one identifies with. We read what's written and we identify with that, or we criticize it or whatever. The plain piece of paper hasn't changed, even though it's screwed up. It's a different modification of the same thing. You see? The plain piece of paper is always the plain piece of paper. Even if it's torn, it's still... There's 4 pieces there of the same plain piece of paper. It's still a plain... In some sense, it's still one piece of paper. Torn into 4. Anyway. So. And then, because you're happy, it's life is humorous. You see the ridiculousness of everyone's going around like headless chickens. Full of moans and groans and criticisms and judgments and poor me, poor you. And yes, there's a lot of horribleness going on in the world. You know, real gross, obscene. It's so hurtful. And see, when you're more like this, you feel so sensitive. You feel so, your feelings are heightened. Your real feeling, the spiritual feelings, you know, the divine feelings. We've got to start here. You've got to start with your body, mind, no one else's. You've got to take on that responsibility. I hope I've said enough to motivate you, what the word is, to consider living a life of real happiness. But you won't until you're disillusioned. If you're happy with your way of life, if you're happy being, dare I say it, a bitch and a bugger, bastard, because that's what we are, always wanting our way, I'm right and you are wrong mentality, manipulating others in order to be happy. If you're not disillusioned with all of that, then you won't choose this. You've got to see what you are for what you are. Most people are pathetic, really. That's how it is. I stand alone. When you're standing alone, you are truly happy. Not lonely. Alone is your true self. Oh. Always being, always live with your head bowed. In gratitude. Always in love with the Master, in my case, Adidas Samvaj. subordinate. Keep turning, keep surrendering, keep communing. Onward, onward, all the time. Don't let this have a moment's existence. Be released.